This video contains spoilers for Digimon Adventure 2020, you naughty chaffinches.
You know, recently with the hack going on at thoe, meaning that Digimon Ghost Game is on hiatus, I've been thinking back to when Digimon Adventure 2020 also went on hiatus. And despite the troublesome reasons it went on hiatus, it did give us some time to have a lot of theories for that season. And in particular, thanks to a request by my Digi Destined level channel member Dresden Nova, I've been thinking back to when Palmon and Patamon both digivolved into armor Digivolutions. And so on today's video, I'm going to talk about what if all of the Digimon Adventure 2020 partners got armor forms. Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome back to another video, and I'm not even going to ask you to like and subscribe today. I know for a fact that if you haven't already liked and subscribed, you're cringe. And I don't think anyone who watches me is cringe. But yes, the armor evolutions from Digimon Adventure 2020. These weren't traditional armor evolutions like we saw in Digimon Adventure 02 back in the day, but more armor forms being used as alternate Digivolutions. Patamon assuming the form of Pegasusmon when it couldn't become Angemon, but was determined to help TK and the others, and Palmon's data being disrupted by both Etomon and Volcamon, but also potentially the dim card Izzy found, causing Palmon to become the traditional death evolution, or Patamon, ironically enough, sincerity evolution, Ponchomon. Both of these being kind of like pivotal focus episodes, so I'm not just going to randomly assign armors to these Digimon, but rather try and think of an episode that would make most sense for them to have assumed an armor form, or at least an alternate evolution of some kind. And Agumon and Gabumon already got quite a few alternate evolutions this series, so good for them, I guess. As I touched on, Ponchomon typically was not a Palmon armor, but a Patamon one. Because of this, I'm also not going to be sticking to armor Digimon that these Digimon have become in past media. There are some card games where the adventure Digimon can armor Digivolve, for example. So Gatomon. I think the first contender would be the episode Hikari and Tailmon, but Sihomon and Mambomon are in this episode as Digimon of the day, and they are both Digimental of Light evolutions. I hate a lot of Digimental of Light evos, by the way. As such, I'm going to cop out a little bit and choose Pegasusmon's matching pair, Nefertimon, for Gatomon's armor evolution. It does really make sense though if Patamon gets Pegasusmon, and I think in an episode like Hikari and the Moving Forest, or maybe even after the episode The Attack of Mugendramon, where Angelwoman used up her holy energy power to power up War Greymon and was forced to revert back to Gatomon, kinda similar to how a weakened Patamon went on to become Pegasusmon. Next for Gomamon, I think the most logical episode for this to take place would be in something like the Gecko Hot Springs Revolt, where Joe and Gomamon are held hostage by Shogun Gekomon in a hot spring. And this hot spring has inspired my idea for Gomamon's armor evolution, Orcamon. It takes its name from the orca whale, which like all other whales is warm-blooded, which would make it much more at home in a warm environment like a hot spring, especially in contrast to Ikakumon, whose fur would probably cause it to overheat in such an already warm environment. Tentomon has a very limited amount of knowledge Digimental contenders that I think would remotely work for him. I really would like to have picked Searchmon here, but because Izzy's crest of knowledge directly influenced Chumon to become it, I can't. I think therefore it probably makes sense here to fall back on Digmon. Yes, it is an iconic Armadillomon Evo, but given that the 02 kids aren't in this season, and we already have Pegasusmon and I guess Nefertimon now, I'm pretty happy using Digmon. It works fairly well for Tentomon as a knowledge Evo, and in episodes that feature Digimon like Garbagemon, Junkmon, etc., I can definitely see Digmon being very useful for digging holes in mountains, or trash, or burrowing through obstacles. There's a lot of Izzy adjacent or Izzy focused episodes that Digmon would have been really handy for. Next up is Biyomon. Sora and Biyomon is particularly difficult. A ton of episodes that might work for Biyomon to get an armor form are either conventional evolution episodes for Biyomon, or are evolution episodes for other Digimon partners. I don't know what happened with Sora in this season. She does get focus, but like a lot of the time she does also get her focus given to other people. As such, I'm going super out there with this one and picking the episode Strike, the Killer Shot, where Tai and Sora play football, or soccer for the Americans.
Football's football no matter where you play it. You got grass, you got cleats, and you got helmets with masks on them.
And then the plot of the episode deviates into Pomumon needing help as Teropiamon is turning its friends into fruit. This is the biggest of stretches, but I'm gonna have Biyomon become Pipismon for this episode because fruit bats are a thing. Also, maybe Pipismon's sonar attack could disrupt Teropiamon and act as a distraction while Pomimon freed its friends. I don't know, I think visually and kind of like emotionally, story beat wise, I'd probably prefer something like Swanmon or Owlmon for Biyomon, but I just can't find a good place to use them where Biyomon isn't already digivolving into like Birdramon, Garudamon, Hoemon, or someone else isn't also digivolving that episode. If you can think of an episode and a different Digivolution that would work great though, let me know in the comments down below. Then for Gabumon. The Blazing Blue friendship felt like it should have been a new evolution episode. Matt and Gabumon basically alone confront a new threat in this episode. As such, I'm using the moment when Matt remembers when he and Gabumon met and activates his crest of friendship, which I remind you did not trigger a new evolution, to save Gabumon from being fucking crucified by Mephismon and could then become Rinkmon. I think Rinkmon is the coolest looking friendship armor we have here apart from maybe Raidramon, but I am going to add something to Rinkmon that I think is completely missing from its lore, and that is the ability to create ice. Kind of like Frozone from The Incredibles, I guess. I think Rinkmon running rings about Mephistomon by creating floors and walls and barricades of ice would be very cool visually and very satisfying. You could definitely argue that maybe Rinkmon isn't strong enough to defeat Mephistomon, but there's nothing saying Rinkmon couldn't then digivolve to Wegaruramon and Wegaruramon Alterous mode. Digivolution is super loosey-goosey, and if these armors are acting kind of as secondary champions in this season, why can't Rinkmon become Wegaruramon? And then finally for Agumon, I have chosen episode 63, The Crest of Courage. It's the name of the episode. There's even Allomon that they fight in this episode, and guess what? Allomon is a Courage Armor Digivolution. This episode, however, is basically a vision, and whether any of it really happened is kind of ropey. That does make it a little awkward to give Agumon a new form, but Agumon has tons of forms this season anyway, so giving it one that might not technically have really happened I think is fine. As such, in this spiritual vision Valkyremon is seemingly testing Taichi with, I think it might be fun for Agumon to become Flare Wizardmon. I think this works both because Taichi might imagine a wizard Digimon in a fantasy scenario, and as a kind of a nod of the hat to the Wizardmon of the original adventure we never saw in Adventure 2020. I definitely did consider some other Courage armors like Flamedramon, Shadramon, maybe even Lynxmon. Certainly would not like Barramon or Bormon here. It's also been possible in the past for Tentomon to armor digivolve to Flare Wizardmon, so that would give that bond between Tai and Izzy, which I think is very important in Digimon Adventure 2020, a lot more credence. In this vision quest, uniting the Crest of Courage with a childlike imagination, but also the knowledge of one of Tai's best friends, Izzy. But those are my picks for what armor Digivolution / alternate champions I would give to the rest of the Digimon Adventure 2020 cast. Like I say, I tried to base this not just on like what I think would look like a cool armor, but what I also think would work within the context of an episode that we already have. But if you think you've got a better episode or a better armor Digimon, do let me know in the comments down below. I will not be accepting, but this Digimon's cooler. Do you think I wanted to pick Pipismon? Huge thank you to my Sovereign tier channel members EDK14, it means the world to me, bud. Hope the snow's not been too bad. And my Digi-Destined level channel members, including brand new Digi-Destined Gek Alucci, thank you so much for becoming a Digi-Destined, Nightshade J, Koltaku, Kenya Kubiaki, CG Law, Night 12, Hya Jaeger, Rule Lima, NVBBX, Dresden Nova, Metallic Pool, Triple D, Reese Williams, Sad Uncle Callum, and Crimson Dragon Slayer, and my Tamers and Karn Club members who you can see on screen right now. Remember, if you become a channel member for as little as like a couple of bucks a month, you get early access to all my videos as soon as they're ready. Check out this video below me because YouTube thinks it is the one most suited for you to watch. You're going to enjoy it, so you may as well watch it, and I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.